Hello, and welcome to the spring edition of My Students Call Me Sensei. Today, we're at the Isshinryu Karate Academy of Pittsburgh at 600 Green Tree Road. 600 Green Tree Road is the headquarters of Isshinryu Karate here in Western Pennsylvania, and it's also my home school. Today, the topic of our program in Isshinryu Karate is stance. Now, people often ask me, how do you begin to teach Isshinryu Karate to new students? And my answer is that I teach it from the ground up, which means stance is number one. If your stance isn't right, then everything above your feet isn't right either. Interestingly enough, in my years of judging at tournaments and taking students and coaching them there, I've noticed that stance, although the single most important part of the kata, is often the least attended to. So today, I want to make a point of the kinds of stances we have. We're going to examine 6 of the stances that Isshinryu Karate has. And in order to have help with that, I've invited Sensei Marty Dugan to come and help me in this project. Sensei Dugan, would you step in, please? Thanks for attending.
Good to see you.
I appreciate it. Okay.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Right. So, what we're going to do first is have Sensei Dugan demonstrate a few of the stances that we have in Isshinryu Karate. And he's going to demonstrate it 2 ways. First, as doing the stance by itself, then as the stance is done as a part of the kata that he performs. In doing that, he will perform an empty hand kata, first at regular speed, then slow. During the slow period, I'm going to speak over his actions and demonstrate or explain what stance he is in at any particular time. We'll do this first with the empty hand kata, and then we'll go to a weapons kata, which is a bit more difficult to do. Sensei is a Japanese word that means teacher. And I teach Isshinryu Karate for the Recreation Department of Bethel Park at Bethel Park Community Center. I've been in Isshinryu Karate for over half a century. And it's been my observation, the violence is always emphasized, but the better virtues of karate is seldom seen. In this series, my purpose is to acquaint you, the viewer, with the benefits of martial arts training in general and Isshinryu Karate specifically. So whether you're a martial artist already, or whether you're a person who's thought of taking martial arts, or if you're someone with no interest whatsoever in martial arts, I think you'll find this program to be a benefit to you. My name is Chuck Wallace, but my students call me Sensei. Today we're going to emphasize 6 of the stances of Isshinryu Karate. The first stance is the initial fighting stance that one learns. It's called Seisan stance. As you can see, Sensei Dugan has his left foot forward. The heel of his forward foot is on a line with the big toe of his rear foot. Both knees are bent. The knee of the forward foot is right over the toes. The weight is equally distributed, 50-50 on each leg. Now from this stance, Seisan stance, he can transfer over to Seiuchin stance by pivoting his back foot. And here, his back is nice and straight, okay? The center of balance is right down the middle of the body. 50-50 weight distribution on the feet. This stance is especially strong to the side, very much so to the side. Seiyuchin stance. Both Seison and Seiyuchin have a kata named after the stance. Now from Seiyuchin stance, he can transfer into Naihanchi stance, which is also the name of one of the katas. Here we have both feet toed inward. We have the toes gripping the floor. It's a good strong stance. It can be used to the side or to the back or to the front. There is no attack from the back in Naihanchi kata, which features this stance very strongly. All attacks in Naihanchi kata come from the front or from the sides. Now from Naihanchi, we're going to go to what we call the T stance. Now the T stance has 90% of the weight on the back leg. His left foot is halfway, would meet perpendicular with his right foot. The distance that he puts his foot out is 1 foot length. So that if Sensei Marty would put his foot down, the distance between the 2 feet would be 1 foot length, one of his foot length. Okay, 90% of the weight is on the back leg, the back is straight, the groin is tucked in, and the knees are bent. And this is the T stance. It's very prevalent in the art of Isshin-ryu karate. This is a stance that is greatly neglected by a lot of Isshin-ryu practitioners. It takes a while to be able to perform this stance properly. And sometimes the legs will ache a little bit after a long session on practicing this stance. So from the T stance, we're going to transition into what we call Iwo-dachi. Now, Iwo-dachi is a 1 foot stance. 90% of his weight is on that front leg. His back leg is vertical. His back foot is vertical, and his calves are locked together. This is an excellent stance from which one can kick if the occasion is there, because you have your weight on the front leg, and therefore he can kick easily enough. Okay. All right. Very good. We're going to have Sensei Marty Dugan perform Seison kata. It's the first kata one learns in Isshin-ryu karate. Going to have him perform it at regular speed. Then afterwards, he's going to perform it slow. And when he performs it slow, I'll point out the different stances that he's in. So to begin with, Seison kata at regular speed. Now you may have noticed some of the stances that Sensei Marty performed in this kata. You may recall them from what he just showed. when he showed some of the individual stances. But when we're training on stances and we want to put our emphasis and our attention strongly onto the stance itself, we recommend that our students and our black belts perform the kata slowly. By performing it slowly, this way one can emphasize each particular stance as we go along. So right now, Sensei Dugan will perform Seison Kata slow, with emphasis on the stance, and I will mention the stance as he goes into each one. Seison stance. Seison again, and a third time. Seison. Each stance is Seison. You can see why the kata is named Seison Kata. Seison again. Stepping into Seison. Half step, then stepping around to Seison. Seison, kick, punch. Now the big block takes him into Seiuchin stance. Now he's back in the T position, 90% of the weight. And he goes from there into Seison. Iwadachi, kicking, lock, punch, Seiuchin stance. Back to the T. He steps out, bridge of nose into Seiuchin. Steps down, across into Iwadachi, kick, lock, punch. The big block is in Seiuchin stance. Here we are in the T position, striking, lock, punch, big block, down into Seiuchin again. Parry block, kick, pull him and punch him. Step back, catch a foot, twist, and that is the T stance, up and down. And that's Seison Kata performed slowly with emphasis on each particular stance. It's amazing how training like this brings the full attention of the student to the stance and makes the stance better, so that when one does do the kata at regular speed, one tends to have a better stance by practicing doing the kata slow. There are many ways we can do a kata, maybe 100 different ways, and it's always for the purpose of making the form better. Speed plus good form accounts for the striking force and the artistic presence of our Isshin-ryu Karate katas. Now, from the empty hand kata, we're going to go to a weapons kata. Now, most of the...
Excuse me. Did you want to do the drills? How was it?
Oh, yes.
The drills?
Yes. Okay.
We talked about
Yes.
demonstrating drills.
We're going to do a couple drills now that Sensei Dugan can perform for us using some of these stances.
Yes, Master.
Okay, good. Begin. T position with a catch on the hip. Okay. Stepping out, the bridge of nose strike, and then back to the T. Iwodachi, kick, Seison, stance, punch, big block. Just as in the kata. Striking, going into Seiuchin. There's the T stance, Iwodachi, lock, Seiuchin stance. There it is again. And one more time. Into Seiuchin, back to the T, kicking, walk and Seiyuchin, or Seison then Seiyuchin. Very good, very good. Some think that you have to do the whole kata to benefit from these stances, but that's not so. You can do segments, excerpts from the kata, and in doing so, you get the practice on those specific stances that are involved in that sequence, rather than having to go through the whole kata to achieve the same purpose. Now, we're going to change position a little bit and have Sensei Dugan perform the kata, third bow. Now the bow is one of the Isshinryu weapons, like all the Isshinryu weapons, that was originally a farm implement. And when the Japanese invaded the island of Okinawa and confiscated all the weapons, the farmers developed and learned to use their farm implements as weapons, and they trained with them. And they had prearranged fighting with them, and they did katas with them. So Marty Dugan will perform the third bow kata. There are 3 bow katas, of course, first being the easiest, third being the most difficult. But in the process of performing this kata, he'll introduce a new stance, and that stance is Zenkutsu, Zenkutsu Dachi. The word dachi is Japanese for stance. So Sensei Dugan, if you would take your bow and...
If I may get my bow, aren't you? My bow.
Pardon me?
If I may get my bow.
Sure, absolutely.
We're also going to perform this very slowly.
Yes.
For a viewer to see the proper stances.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Very slowly. We won't do this one fast. It would be really difficult for the untrained eye to spot the different stances if we did this one fast. There we have Zenkutsu stance. Here we have Seiyuchin. Zenkutsu, very wide stance. 60% of the weight is on the front leg. Strong stance. Seiyuchin. Zenkutsu. Zenkutsu. Seiyuchin. Seiyuchin. He's in Zenkutsu. Again, again. That's Seiyuchin. Zenkutsu. Dropping down, striking. Coming up, quick step into Zenkutsu. Here we go into stepping across into Iwadachi. Stepping into Seiyuchin. Iwadachi. Zenkutsu for those strikes. Thrusting with the bow, Zenkutsu. Seiyuchin. And Zenkutsu. T stance. Zenkutsu. Seiyuchin stance. Zenkutsu. Seiyuchin stance. Zenkutsu. Again. And Zenkutsu again. T stance. Seiyuchin. And the finish. Well done. Well done. By the number of Zenkutsu stances that you see in this third bow kata, it's a wonder it's not called Zenkutsu kata, but it's not. Boshishi no kun no dai is the Japanese name for third bow kata. However, you can see that that Zenkutsu stance is not one that would be easily taught to beginners. And it's not just by accident that it isn't taught for beginners. One has to advance quite a way before he or she is ready for the Zenkutsu stance. But it's a great stance, 60% of the weight on the front leg, and there are many, many of these stances in the third bow. That was a big help. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome, Ponzi. Thanks for having me today.
Yes, and I hope that I hope that everyone who is watching, be you a beginner in karate or someone advanced, either in the style of Isshin-ryu or perhaps another style, may have received some help in forming these stances. Take your time, be attentive to the stance, especially when you start in with the weapons, the bow, the sai, perhaps the tonfa and the kama. The stance is very important, and it really comes first. I think it would be appropriate at this time for me to introduce the gentlemen who are pictured behind us. Now, to the right, to the far right, is Tatsuo Shimabuku, the founder of Isshin-ryu Karate. He came to this country, in fact, he came to the South Hills in 1964, in September. And I studied under him along with my sensei, William H. Dissel. And he was here in this country for several months, and he gave us a good start. He had come for the first time to the USA and chose Pittsburgh, in fact, Castle Shannon, to visit a school and to teach his brand of Isshin-ryu Karate. Next to him, the gentleman in the middle, is Kichiro Shimabuku. Kichiro Shimabuku is the son of the late Tatsuo Shimabuku. He is the present-day head of the Isshin-ryu World Karate Association on Okinawa. And every 2 years, we get together somewhere, usually in the USA, for the Isshin-ryu World Karate Association World Championship. Sensei Dugan had performed and competed in the last World Championship that was held in Augusta, Maine, and received several trophies, if I recall correctly. So if he looks familiar to you, that could be because I had a program about 3 of those winners from this school and had them demonstrate some of their skills. And Sensei Marty Dugan was one of them. The gentleman to this side is William H. Dissel, the late William H. Dissel. He passed away in 2014, and he was the chief instructor of this school from the time of its inception. He was Tatsuo Shimabuku's #1 student in the USA. He was an example to all of us, and he has many black belts here today who he trained, and he's been very significant in the lives of all of us, certainly including myself. What I'd like to do, though, Marty Dugan, if you would care to say a few words about anything, about your training, any topic you'd like to discuss.
Well, since
for
we're on,
folks.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No.
Since we're on stance training,
Yes.
that is the focus of today. Haunchy Dissel has said, and you've often said, Haunchy, that we need to work our weaknesses. Stance training is very physically demanding. By watching a small performance, it may not look that way, but it's amazing, even working it, particularly at a slow pace. Again, it's often said, and you've often said, to go as fast as you can without breaking form.
Yes.
I think one of the problems is sometimes we get in too big of a hurry to get through the kata. And again, we're not emphasizing the stance training.
Right.
And again, just for getting ready for this program and doing this work on my own and a little bit more than usual, I feel the added work that's gone on around my legs and my hip area, and it's definitely very beneficial. And like you said, it's our foundation, and I'd highly recommend spending a good bit of time on stance training.
Terrific.
That's what I wanted to bring up today, Haunchy.
Terrific. That's a good
Thank
point.
you. Thank
yeah,
you.
the stance is very, very important. And I hope this program today may cause some folks in our style and perhaps in other styles to be more attentive to their stances. I think that's important. Anything else you'd care to share with us about your training over the years? You've been with us now since when? When did you start?
1982.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Marty Dugan is a 6th degree black belt and well on his way to number 7. When Marty reaches number 7, he'll be able to wear a red and white belt. So that's quite an honor. But that's coming up in a matter of months. We don't have an exact date, but it's not far off. But he's trained very diligently over those years. We have a lot of good people, and certainly Marty Dugan is high on that list.
Thank you, Haunchy. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's been a pleasure having you here.
It's been a pleasure working with you,
All
Haunchy.
right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, okay. Well, thank you all for viewing today. I do appreciate it. This program has been a while coming, but I hope it's something that everyone can enjoy. And if you have no interest at all in karate, at least you can tell that we do something that we feel has benefit and benefits for anyone who takes part, no matter how little or how much time you put into it. So I look forward to seeing you all next time, and stay well, stay healthy. Hopefully the sickness season is over. Yasuke, hey! Hey! Thank you.